Precarity, and our title is Wandering Through Uncertainty. In the first half of tonight's program, we've watched Ghost, Azra Deniz Okyay's first feature film. Azra, it's too bad that you're not here with us, but welcome virtually. I'd like to present you before starting the Q&A, if you don't mind. So Azra started her career in photography at the age of 12, and she was an assistant of the photographer Dora Günel at the age of 14. She studied cinema at Sorbonne Nouvelle, where she earned her bachelor's and master's degrees. And then she also studied sociology for 2 years at the École des Hautes Études en Sciences Sociales. Upon her return to Turkey in 2010, she became the first female director at Depo, an Istanbul-based advertising production company. She's made several short films and music videos. Ghosts, her first feature film, won the Settimane della Critica 2020 at Venice International Film Festival, and many more awards since then. So once again, welcome, Azra. It was really nice to watch your film again. This is the third time I'm watching it, and every time I watch it, I discover something new. So I guess maybe the first thing I'd like to ask you is about your writing process, because I've read that it took you 5 years to write the script for the film, and the film is about New Turkey. So maybe some members in the audience might not get the reference, but New Turkey is something that was part of the narrative of the New Justice and Development Party when they came to power in 2002. With the promise of building, kind of this new democratic Turkey through reforms. And obviously, now, now 20 years on, we see that that's not the case. So during the 5 years when you were writing the script, many events happened, like in the film. It's not in Turkey. It's not one thing doesn't happen after the other, but many events come at you. Like a bulldozer. So how did kind of the events happening impact your writing process?
Thank you for the introduction. I don't know. I dreamed and tried to survive on this darkness 5 years in this room. And so I write every day. I couldn't... as an artist or video artist, we know that such artists, like, you cannot breathe, so you're just trying to get your space. So trying to get your space on this chaos, it's making you a kind of rebellion attitude. And I wanted to archive my friends, like Chorus Polars, you can see there's a concert scene kind of moment. It was kind of a little lights on my darkness and my black hole, and all the New Turkey, how they were building and also destroying also Turkey. Like Diyarbakir and stuff, they were being destroyed on the name of New Turkey. And by the way, I also made a video art with Emre, who's on the room there. I made a video art about New Turkey, like they are destroying and they are building a conservative village. Completely beton, without the cultural heritage. This destruction making people with no identity, because all Turkey is becoming so similar to each other. I'm coming from an architect, urban planner family. My father was a member of UNESCO. He worked for them for making like Mardin and Safranbolu, who is now protected. And when I was a kid, I entered to each house, and I saw that if you are protecting a house, you are protecting also the story, and you are protecting the happiness of people. This is became kind of my motto my last 5 years, because I was seeing that this destruction was not economic, not politic, more than that. Anthropologically, they were a big destruction. And as a person, I was feeling like a war photographer. I was like, if I was not taking this picture, I will absolutely be destroyed with them. So I think for trying to feel myself that I was existing, I need to write the stories and also bringing my ideas, like big power cuts in one day, and you're living a lot of things. I mean, we made it once in 70. City was being in darkness for 9 hours in Turkey. And like the morning we began, the afternoon we were running on the city, and the night when we arrived at home, we ended up with another big story. Like we don't even remember, what you are passing through. So I was focalized also about this idea about when a person is living a lot of shock. This is a theory of Naomi Klein, shock doctrine. You can also find a documentary about that. This is becoming a political thing for a government. So the person doesn't understanding what they are living, and even you're in a darkness, you're going through a darkness. Like the film is completely jumping in a big darkness. I mean, we use completely natural light, and even the night, we really use the best camera for getting the light. This is so technical, but just really trying to push even ideologically an idea and putting it technically. So this made me my last year's life. Yeah, this was until my bones what I was feeling, how I can really write what I was feeling as an artist and also a human, and someone who's seeing, like a wall photographer, taking the picture and seeing that it was destroyed. Like it was so intense, still intense. Even the shooting was so intense. Even in the shooting, we get tanks and policemen who arrest us, thinking that we were burning the city. When you're on the last 5-10 minutes of the film, there is the place is burning. Yeah. They really think that I was making a riot, so they arrest us. So yeah, and in this chaos, you need to be so calm and trying to go what you want to do, and what you want to do is completely changing every minute. Mm-hmm. So this is a metaphoric way how I describe my life with this film and my friends and my ideology about life. But when I'm watching, I just watch with you last 5 minutes. It's even more naive. Now I'm more dark.
I was going to ask you about to talk about your hope, because even if the film mostly takes place in the dark, both literally and and you talked about it metaphorically as well, I still feel like there's some sort of hope there at the end, and maybe you would expand on that. But before we go into that, you talked quite a bit about urban renewal and its impact on the people living in those spaces, and you have also a documentary called Sulukule Mon Amour, which was also about female dancers in the Sulukule district, which was also destroyed in Istanbul. So, and I think for this film, you mentioned in your answer that you were filming in these regions which were probably don't even look the way that they did in your film right now, Fikirtepe and Gülensu, I think, neighborhoods, if I remember correctly. So how was it working in these, both in the neighborhood, like these precarious neighborhoods and people living there, and what were some of the challenges that you faced during the shoot? I mean, you mentioned it a little bit in your previous answer, but maybe if you could expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I can say that like when I'm listening myself, it's making like a National Geographic zoo animal. But I mean, really every day when I was shooting, 5 minutes after, sometimes the building was completely destroyed. So one day after, we couldn't find this building. So there is moments like that also. It was so fast, so aggressive for us. And imagine the people who's living. And of course, after 2 months, there were no more Fikirtepe, and there's maybe 2 buildings now. So even the people who was trying to live there they were saying, okay, just film it because maybe tomorrow there is no, Can you imagine this anxiety? I mean, and now there is no more building. I mean, it's been destroyed. But I mean, normally I didn't have a life like that, you know. So it's getting so fast and fast, this destruction.
And
I don't know. I was trying to explain myself to someone in Denmark. Like they never lived a kind of a disaster. I mean, in my day was all the time something, and I was like, how I can explain a kind of destruction? How you can be healthy mentally? You can do meditation every day, but it's not enough, you know. So this distraction is make you think 10 times more for making you more survival, you know. So the people was living there were trying to do other stuff on the same time for if they will no more exist there. So they were trying to, so they're changing their job. Like in Gülansu, it was more some people, more educated people, by the way. It is one of the only area after Sulukule who could not be destroyed as a ghetto, because I met Ali Rıza Muhtar, the guy was being elected by the municipality from the people, and he said to me that when I met him, he said that, "Who are you? From where are you coming?" I said, "I'm from there, Istanbul, Taksim." But when I explained that my father was trying to make Sulukule not been destroyed when I mean 15 years ago, he recognized him. And I said also Mücella Yapıcı, she's actually in jail last 3 weeks now. So she was really a best friend of my father. They were really trying to make survive Sulukule. When I said that, he said, "Okay, you can enter, but we are not allowing people because we need to protect this ghetto. It is the only ghetto been left in Istanbul, not been destroyed." So it was really politic engagement also coming in this Gülansu. It's really, by the way, it's on the mountain of Istanbul, like after Kartal. But when you are watching, like you can see on the beginning of the film, this is the most beautiful view of Istanbul on the same time. And it is really a miraculous the way how we entered. And they decided, I mean, they accepted us. It was also kind of a manifesto. I said, just I want to shoot here because I think that it need to be protected. And he said, "Okay, you can enter at this point." And they completely protect us also. Like when the policemen were arriving with 5 tanks and 30 Kalashnikov, it was really violent. They said, "We are gonna protect you." And then when we calmed the police, saying, "Okay, we are just shooting," the policeman said, "No, we were here for protecting you," because there were. It was a ghetto where there were a lot of riots because there's a lot of Alevi and Kurdish people who's living, but everybody was in jail now. So they were like, "Who's this new people who's making the riots?" So, well, it was really violent moment for us, of course. For them, it was normal. Yeah. This is the weird thing, I think, schizophrenic thing. How in a city you are there for just a shooting and suddenly you are in the middle of a riot, and my team was being, 30 Kalashnikov being pointed. It was really violent. So Fikirtepe and Gülansu, it was really emotionally so interesting for us.
Maybe we can delve into the film a little bit as well before opening up the floor for questions, but I wanted to ask you about the construction of time in your film, because it's so elusive. Like, just as soon as you feel like you're following a string of events, the film goes back to the beginning, and the audience kind of has to puzzle everything together a little bit as well. You worked with editor Iris Aytekin, who's a award-winning editor, an actress, and a director in her own right. Can you tell us a little bit about the process? Did you plan ahead for the editing, or did the process come together once you looked at the material in the post-production phase?
So this is not a typical editing, and this is not a typical film. So I can say that even in the first draft, I stopped to count how many drafts I made after 5. I think the film was made after 20-25 draft of the film, because I need to getting out some details. So all the editing, I mean, the script was moving all the time. If you are just want to forget like the fourth character, Ella, for example, all the script is completely moving and the editing. So you need to be so precise before the shooting, the editing on your mind. Like I was before the shooting, I get time for preparing the team. This month of time was the most important thing for a shooting, because I made a lot of shooting before, but I get money like commercials and stuff. So I know how a team have to be built, muscle way, because this film was been made just for the production. It was been shot in 17 days. This is nothing. I don't recommend that to anybody. Normally, it's kind of a short film, you can make it. So we prepared the film for 4 months. Like, so I really work like an architect. Like, I know at some point how I will turn on the camera for making it in the editing in another color or lights. I was pretty sure, because I know that on the shooting moment, I don't have time for testing so many things, you know? So you need to be so like a kind of a concerto, you know, like, you know, everything very well. So I work with Iris and Boris Özbichar, the DOP, the cameraman, just before weeks ago, like putting both to the same tables, making like a kind of Excel thing and working like a NASA project, you know. You cannot enter like in a chaotic way on this film. I don't recommend to working like that, because you need to, it can happen some disaster if you don't know what you're doing. So this draft help us a lot for the editing. And the editing, we cut more like in a punk concert, you know, because when you're writing a film, you get kind of the melody and the sound and the emotion that you want to bring. On the shooting, you are making it like it was like that, but the film is not there. And so in the editing, you need to remember what was your first emotions, even 5 years ago. So this is a big trouble on your mind, and you need to appear so normal. And editing took just as for us 1 month and a half, something like that, because we didn't have money for finishing. And but the thing is that Venice Film Festival, so the first draft of the editing, normally normal film can be edited in 4 or 5 months, but we just send the first draft to work in progress, because we need money. We get a lot of debt, like 3 times, 4 times more of the budget of the film. It was kind of a poker game for us. I know how to play poker, by the way. So I just put a little money and a lot of energy and my life. And then I was like, okay, I know how I need to play. So we just made the first draft to work in progress of ECA. So it's really helpful for us, because Venice Film Festival saw us. We didn't have money from the competition, but Venice Film Festival said, okay, we want you now. You have just 24 hours for saying yes. We wait for 24 hours for saying yes, because we were like, we didn't finish the film yet. So, and we said yes, and
the rest is history.
We film in 2 weeks, 3-4 weeks more. And and then there is the pandemic, just poof, everything been locked down. And then I get few weeks more, and I finished it in Paris. And 1 day after, I fly to Venice for the competition. So, and then we get the award. It was so fast for me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the whole pandemic situation is a whole other box to open, but before we go into that, maybe our audience has some questions for you as well. Does anyone have any questions for Azra? No questions?
Normally they are so afraid.
If no one has any questions, then I can ask my questions, because I have a lot of them. One last chance? No? Okay.
I was wondering, during the movie, there were like some vertical shots in between the landscape film, and I was wondering what was the meaning of that.
It is kind of also a chapter of the film, like the first character, second, fourth character. It's making like a chapter on a book, you know, because every video that you are seeing is kind of the world of this character that you're entering. You don't, I didn't want to make it like so classical, like Ella, no. First we wrote that, and then we getting out the title of like the characters. And I shot it with this iPhone for making it like kind of bringing also my way, my laws, you know, saying, okay, this is my point of view. When you are shooting something in the streets, you never ask this person, you don't know his life. And I was like, okay, maybe you should think more about what you're watching on the street sometimes. So it's just kind of a clin d'oeil, you know, like saying, okay, just now we're entering now there, you know, and you're entering, and then you're getting kind of maybe a responsibility as a person. I don't know. I really wanted to bring this too, and also making kind of little shots, bringing to little shocks to the audience for making it like this is not a classical film.
I think it also creates like so much subjectivity, you know, and this identification with the characters, and brings us audiences into the space. Not only the use of the camera, also what you were talking about earlier with the editing and the use of time, and maybe lastly also talk about the sound, because the sound is just like it's crazy. I felt like I was in Istanbul, which is, I don't want to feel that way, you know, and it really felt the cacophony, the deafening kind of overwhelming sound. So maybe you could also talk a little bit about the sound design and how that process worked for you.
Yeah, the sound for me, it's made me this kind of idea of this helicopter sound. I began to get it where I'm living, actually, Taksim, after 2013, June, after Gezi protests. Like this area was so many helicopter sound all the time. So when we were on our apartment, if there were a friend, you're taking a coffee, you couldn't understand each other, you know? It was crazy. And for us, it was so new. Like some friends of Diyarbakir, they were getting that all the time, by the way. But it just entered to my life after 2013. So it means that something is watching you, like a government, and then you cannot hear each other. So it was really this thing. It was coming from video art completely. Like because I am coming from video art, it was like there is no law, you know, in video art. What I like is that. So that's why I bring this tool. It was my tool, saying, okay, normally in life sometimes you don't understanding each other, so I need to bring it, and it's have to be normal, you know. So we shot it in. There is a moment on the film, like the three characters, you can see them on the different point of view. For this, there is a helicopter in 3D. So I asked the guys, making them. I was saying, okay, you know, Jurassic Park, you know, when the dinosaur is watching you, the helicopters have to be like that. So I was really explaining, and that was like, this is the dinosaurs watching you, and you're gonna be afraid, but you need to continue your life, you know. So I bring it the sound like that. It's the helicopter is also another character, like the city. The sound, it's like you are saying, in the ghetto when you're there, there's also some chickens sound, but in the Istiklal it's more like chaotic thing. And then I bring in the generic the sound that I want to listen. Like there is also 90s sounds. There is also the protest of feminist protest. It is the first, by the way. I was finishing the sound design in France because we get a fund from there. Last days of the editing of sound. It was the 31 August 2020. And Istanbul Sözleşmesi, this is the Convention of Istanbul. This is women's rights, important law. We learned that they're going to cancel it. So there is a big manifestation the 31 August, and I was not there. I should be there in Istanbul. And this is really the first screams of the girl when you're there. And I put them because after the end of the protest manifestation, they beat all the girls. So it was one of the first big violence of the policemen. So when I saw it in Twitter, I completely been crazy and gone because Istanbul Convention canceling it's something inhuman, and they were beating them. And I said to my sound designer, Theo, he's really so talented. I said, this thing happened to my girlfriends today. I want to put their sound on this generic. They need to exist with me all the time. So, and then we decide to bring this generic and the sound editing, like what we really want to keep it. And gonna be, Theo, he was so emotionally sensible as a French, young, new generation guy. So he said, we are gonna make it what you want. But what is funny thing in Istanbul, when I work with some guys, they were completely nonsense. It was like, why? Like there's really difference of dialogue and the humanly way. But Theo is just talented. Now actually he's just finishing the Inaritu movie, so he gets some points. But the sound, it was like now actually there is the Ezan, the muezzin singing. So I cannot imagine a film without it. Mm-hmm. And in the movie, I asked to the sound guys to getting all the muezzin on the day. So we can sometimes put it for just making the reference of the turning point. I try to use all the sounds of daily on the Istanbul way also. This is what my way to making a film. It's the kind of a building architecture, you have just the idea, the form, and then you need to bring which kind of material you need to use for making more lighter somewhere, kind of a sculpture. I'm seeing making a movie like that. You cannot just bring tools and making on your bag. It's something so complicated. It's more, you're telling many stories, but you need to get one emotion at some point. So this is the miracle of a film, I think, yeah.
Azra Deniz, thank you so much. I think we've run out of time. Otherwise, I'm sure we can go on for quite a bit. I know I have a lot more questions to ask you. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your film. I look forward to seeing your next projects. And to everyone who's here, please stay with us because the
a video performance research on finding out ways how to maybe get out of precarious situations, or how to get out of the cycles when you can feel stuck in precarity, in fear, panic, what happens when a lot of you maybe saw the movie before, when you're stuck in a situation where you run after the money and you worry about the money, and it just gets more difficult to earn money because you worry, and worry is a sort of a prayer, but a prayer for that you don't want to happen. So this is cycles of precarity become very difficult and precarious to get out of. And yeah, we all experience maybe in different degrees precarity, or I don't know about your experience, of course, but I assume a lot of you might be artists, and it's always starting anew again, writing another funding application, not knowing how to pay the rent, maybe this month, yes, but next month. All these dependencies, and this is very much at the core of the word precarity, precariousness. Actually, it's being independence in dependence, not being independent, not being autonomous, not being agent, not being sovereign, but being independence, relying, and like etymologically, precarity comes from prayer. So in that situation, you really, all you can do is pray. And yes. And I think that's not only financially, actually. It's not only about the individual existence of how each of us might survive, but it's actually also about the global situation we're in at the moment, which is a very precarious line we're walking on, and I think we basically, a lot of us might know what would be good to change. The disparateness, the unbalance we find ourselves in the world, let's say 1%, or maybe it's just 0.1% that sucks out the energy and the life of 99% of the people of the planet. Because, of course, we are one whole organic existence. We're one coexistence in the world. And yet, what does this knowledge change? How can we change? What can we do from a precarious position? What can we do from a powerless position, the power of the powerlessness? What is that? And that is the field I want to open today with you, with your presence, with your minds. And I'm very glad you helped me with wandering that field. I am also very thankful for Apartment Projects Berlin for this invitation, and I looked through my videos mainly because we have this beautiful space here, these beautiful possibilities, and made a collection of snippets that deal around that touch maybe the topic of precarity, that maybe put a light on it, or maybe also might point to exits, to possible exits that we can just imagine, that we don't know yet. This is the general field of uncertainty that we go in. We don't know, but we know we are in a change. We know we are in the middle of a transformation. And part of that being in the middle is not to know where we end up, where we'll go. This letting go, this wandering the fields of uncertainty means to also let go of the ambition to know where we're going, of the ambition to construct the world. And personally speaking, I was often told that I don't have enough ambitions. And so I set myself an ambition tonight. While you watch the videos, I will build a tower, a very ambitious tower. I made a mind map, or how a mood board, maybe a mood board. I orient myself on the Trump Towers. This is only Trump Towers. And I'm going to build this tower with this material I collected for many years. Actually, this is plastic packaging where you buy greens in when you cannot afford to go to the market. When you go to the supermarket, you end up with plastic, lots of plastic. And so, yes, this is the material where I built like not one exact tower, but maybe I was thinking, because we set up the whole day, and I thought it would be nice to kind of build like these towers on Miami Beach. It's like 3 tower blocks. So this is my aim for tonight, and I hope I don't disturb you a lot while you watch the movies that might come up sooner or later. How is it going with you?
We are waiting for your sign.
Oh my God, you're waiting for my sign. I thought you already started. Oh, yeah, let's say now then. Then I will just start building the towers while you watch me now for quite a while. Because I don't know, we see. This is also a precarious situation. Thanks for understanding. And or while we wait, maybe I want to engage you a bit more and just get a feel of the room of how is your precarious, how is your precarity today? How precarious are you? Like on a scale from 1 to 10, is it a more precarious day, a less precarious day? How stable are you? Precarious in the sense of stable can also be that you trust the flow. Precarious is a sort of, it's also related to the fear. In that sense, how precarious do you feel today? Maybe let's say 1 to 5, just give a hand sign.
What's stable, what's unstable?
1 would be pretty, yeah, I asked about how precarious do you feel, so 5 would be very precarious, and 1 would be quite stable, and maybe totally stable would be nothing. Okay, I think we can manage, because it's going to be quite complex, so you might be bombarded. So this is also why I invited Bernhard Wöstheinrich, who makes ambient sounds, to make some of my videos more digestible, because also I do digest theory. For instance, in one of the first videos that's going to come, there's an excerpt of Michel Foucault, of heterotopias, of other spaces, and of other places. Oh my God. Okay, this was not a good quotation, but it is written in the end of the movie, how it's going to be really. And there's another excerpt, another quotation from Robert Musil, from Man Without Character. So, and then, in between, you might hear, you will hear Giuseppe Maria Amato, who is an environmental activist from Sicily, talking about the precarity of humanity a bit. And you will also hear myself preparing for a book I've written, that I will use this time that we have to longer wait to kind of maybe become less precarious, although this book actually I cannot sell you, so this is not really good because it's already sold out. But if you're interested to buy this book, and if you find 5 people who want to buy this book, I would make a second edition. So, yes. But in the video that comes up later, you will see me while I'm swimming, preparing to write this book, basically. And also, I will, in the meantime, there's lots of other stuff you might also be interested in later, if you like my work anyways. But so now we are walking through the fields of precarity. And we start with building the towers. Basically, the thing of ambition, if you look at the word ambition etymologically, it means to walk around something, to go around looking for a favor or in search of a favor, or to strive for something. But literally, it means like ambi is like around. And Sione is like, yeah, to get at something, to be on the job market. So actually that's one possibility. Actually, ambitions are usually not so, they're usually more like immaterial things you strive after. Like fame or rank or oh yeah, which is also important. I forgot to put on my Donald Duck gloves. What I might achieve with these towers, like especially if they're the highest towers. It's important to make them the highest towers, because then I will probably become famous. do that, you know. Just, you know, feel free to walk around. Look for a favor. I actually wonder if I got that translation right. I'm sometimes really confused with the languages, so I wrote this. Literally, ambition means going around for a position or to strive for a favor. See? Good that I looked. Yeah, looking for non-material achievements like distinguishment. It's about selfish purposes. In contrast to engagement, which would be more
there
altruistic.
are the utopias. But in any case, these utopias are fundamentally unreal spaces. There are also, probably in every culture and every civilization, real places. Places that do exist and that are formed in the very founding of society, which are something like counter sites, a kind of effectively enacted utopia in which the real sites, all the other real sites that can be found within the culture, are simultaneously represented, contested, and inverted.
Yeah, it's good to have a beer with Foucault because it's kind of, yeah.
Places of this kind are outside of all places, even though it may be possible to indicate their location in reality. Because these places are absolutely different from all the sites that they reflect and speak about, I shall call them, by way of contrast to utopias, heterotopias. I believe that between utopias and these quite other sides, these heterotopias, there might be a sort of mixed, joint experience, which would be the mirror. The mirror is, after all, a utopia, since it is a placeless place. In the mirror, I see myself there where I am not. In an unreal, virtual space that opens up behind the surface. I am over there where I am not. A sort of shadow that gives my own visibility to myself, that enables me to see myself there where I am absent. Such is the utopia of the mirror. But it is also a heterotopia insofar as the mirror does exist in reality, where it exerts a sort of counteraction on the position that I occupy. From the standpoint of the mirror, I discover my absent from the place where I am. Since I see myself over there, starting from this gaze that is, as it were, directed toward me, from the ground of this virtual space that is on the other side of the glass, I come back toward myself. I begin again to direct my eyes toward myself. And to reconstitute myself there where I am. The mirror functions as a heterotopia in this respect. It makes this place that I occupy at the moment when I look at myself in the glass at once absolutely real, connected with all the space that surrounds it, and absolutely unreal, since in order to be perceived, it has to pass through this virtual point which is over there.
In a way, it would be easier to use my own words. I would just sit down and write for some hours. Edit and write. It's a challenge to find the texts that resonate with my thoughts. It's a challenge which is the outside world. There's other people and other times. Oh, some are already dead. Maybe. I think the dragonflies already went to sleep. Okay. Good night. Sleep well, dragonflies. Somebody once told me, if you are good, you can do it on your own. It was a man who told me that. I do not believe in that sentence. What is it you can do it on your own? Do I make art to convince others that I am good? Or do I make art to discover something which I would be unaware of if I wouldn't take the time to make art? Maybe I would see it, but then I would forget it. In the editing process, I am reviewing and discovering details which might have passed my awareness in the instant when I was filming. Empowerment asks me to let go of control, to not know what I'm going to discover in the process. Finding one's own voice. As one plant amidst many, encouraging other plants to speak up. I cannot empower anybody else. Empowerment. Empowerment just takes the form of power, of the existing power. It reproduces power structures. Can empowerment somehow not reproduce the power structures? If I open a field to depower, a field is opened. In which new structure might emerge? A more social, a more balanced, a fluid structure, a moving structure, a shifting structure, continuously rebalancing power from one to the other being. Rebalancing power. Depowerment against accumulation of attention. Spreading awareness instead of whatever no longer serves you. Be. Oh. It smells like this is the dog swimming place. So it looks a little bit like it. Opening. Awareness. Association. Perspectives. Inviting. Positioning. And repositioning. And questions. Conclusions might visit from time to time as a temporary byproduct. biggest mistake. You only know it after you die. Power is mainly a problem to those without power. Power is. Anyways, it is just a matter of how we share it. Can you share your power without losing it? Can you contain your power while spreading your attention, while sharing your gifts with the world? Experiencing sharing experience. No one can hold on to power. Nobody. When people hold on to power, they will be challenged and questioned. The funny thing is, what emerges is new people in the old structures. So how can we change that? Maybe adjust a little bit.
If you think about the future of the Earth, you are in a very deep night, all is dark, and a fool make some flashes, but only in random time. 5 minutes, a flash, and then 10 minutes, another flash, and then other 5 minutes, a flash. When you have all the vision of all the flashes, you can try to reconstruct all the deep time, but we haven't the total vision. We have a strange vision with big or little gaps from flash to flash. It is impossible to have a total vision of the deep time. We imagine the evolution like a tree, and we are the upper part of the tree. We are the best of the evolution. Stephen Jay Gould say, we are only a case, not the top of the evolution. We only are a branch of this very complex bush. And the big part of this bush is destined to collapse, and probably the mankind too is destined to collapse. And the other question is, a million of years from now, what is the future of the mankind? To have a very long life means that we haven't a natural selection, and this means that the man haven't a strongness against the pressures of the nature. If you think about your life, your personal life, you can recognize some moments in which, if you haven't the medicine, for example, you probably died. In the medieval time, for example, all the people have fear about gastrointestinal affection, because a very simple gastrointestinal affection can kill a man, can kill a king, not a man, can kill a prince. For us, gastrointestinal infection are very normal. With a single dose of a medicine, you can fight against this. But this is fragility for the man. $30,000 years ago, we have here the Paleolithic man that see the catastrophe and have the necessity to remember the phenomena and make the myth. The suggestion is, if you was a Paleolithic people and see the origin of this lake, a very big catastrophe, the upper part of the mountain collapse down and create a big hole in which then, years by years, make the lake. To remember and to raccontare, to tell this event to the other people, create the first part of the myth. Hades, see the girl, kidnap the girl, and make with the trident a big hole in the surface of the earth that smell of sulfur, and go down, go down with the girl, with the chariot, with all the fields, with the flowers, etc. Okay, go down. This is the first part, and this first part is a very, very old myth, one of the oldest myths in the world, probably 35,000 years ago.
You walked 1 kilometer within 45 minutes and 3 seconds. Heart rate is 106.
Right.
Man springt an den Knotenpunkten von einem Bewegungsapparat in den anderen, wird von deren Rhythmus, der zwischen zwei losdonnernden Geschwindigkeiten eine Synkope, eine Pause, eine kleine Kluft von 20 Sekunden macht, ohne Überlegung angesaugt und hineingerissen, spricht hastig in den Intervallen dieses Rhythmus miteinander ein paar Worte. Stößt man bei irgendeiner dieser Tätigkeiten auf Schwierigkeit, so lässt man die Sache einfach stehen. Denn man findet eine andere Sache oder gelegentlich einen besseren Weg oder ein anderer findet den Weg, den man verfehlt hat. Das schadet gar nichts. Während durch nichts so viel von der gemeinsamen Kraft verschleudert wird, wie durch die Anmaßung, dass man berufen sei, ein bestimmtes persönliches Ziel nicht locker zu lassen. Die Ziele sind kurz gesteckt, aber auch das Leben ist kurz. Man gewinnt ihm so ein Maximum des Erreichens ab und mehr braucht der Mensch nicht zu seinem Glück. Denn was man erreicht, formt die Seele, während das, was man ohne Erfüllung will, sie nur verbiegt. Jeder Fortschritt ist ein Gewinn im Einzelnen und eine Trennung im Ganzen. Es ist ein Zuwachs an Macht, der einen fortschreitenden Zuwachs an Ohnmacht mündet. Ulrich fühlte sich an diesen fast stündlich wachsenden Leib von Tatsachen und Entdeckungen erinnert, aus dem der Geist heute herausblicken muss, wenn er irgendeine Frage genießt hat. Unzählige Auffassungen, Meinungen, ordnende Gedanken aller Zonen und Zeiten, aller Formen gesunder und kranker, wacher und träumender Hirne durchziehen ihn zwar wie tausende kleiner empfindlicher Nervenstränge, aber der Strahlpunkt, wo sie sich vereinen, fehlt.
To feel ourselves like one being on this planet. Do you feel yourselves as one being with everything? Why not? What is in between?
Politics.
What is politics?
Yeah.
Reality?
Hair, cars.
Cars are in between. I was thinking about this precarity as a state of staying longing. I mean, what politics makes us feel, or makes me feel like. I stay longing for something which might never happen in this life. And reality, on the other hand, is like we are reality. We are already here. And so it would be like a belonging instead of stay longing. And I think it could be quite easy, it could be quite simple. That's what I think. So these are the towers that I built so far. And it took longer than I expected. But now they will have to stand the test of time. Maybe I can build another one quickly. was it? Yeah. How you feel now?
Stronger than yesterday.
Yeah? Drunk? Yeah. I don't know how I feel, I have to say. I wish this tower would have fallen. Well, I mean, in a metaphorical sense, I think. Yeah. I kind of, it's too stable.
You invented something.
Yeah. Let's see how this goes.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I think I have to sleep over it. Yeah.
I will keep the deportment idea.
Excuse me?
I will keep the deportment idea.
The depowerment idea, yes. Yes, if you want to, there's also a little card. You can download the PDF if you want to get more. I can. Yes, sure. You have? Do you not have?